Under order here. For the invocation, Mr. Brown, would you please provide us with the invocation today?
Dear Lord, our Father, our Creator and Sustainer, you are omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent. And in all those things, we seek your wisdom. We hope that the things that you have written for us, that we will take to heart, that we will be able to use them in our lives, be the examples that we should be before men. Help us to always understand that we are here for the welfare of these citizens in this county. We give you the glory as to what help us to always understand the need to be forthright with one another, to do things selflessly. Because, Lord, we know that it's only through service to others that we right now. We ask this in your Son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Take one. Yeah, so without contest here, I'd like to make the following changes to this agenda prior to approval, all requested to me by various members of this committee. The first is a change to item 5A3. It is no longer $450,000. That should be $225,000.
You mean 6?
I'm sorry, 6. Yes, thank you. 6, new business under highway, item 3.
What is from 450 to what?
225.
225.
Also to add, again, under new business, item number 6, and that is to appropriate $42,133.10 for EMA for a payment issue item. And then number 7 is a discussion of an org chart. Under other items, this is the new business C2. This would be D under the IT department. This is a multi-year lease for the IT department. So without objection, I'd like to add those items and seek approval for this agenda.
Could you forgive me because I didn't get to talk to you before this. I want to add something, should go quick, about discussion of a 90-day extension for anybody that was affected by the December 9th tornadoes, homeowners, for property tax payments. I don't know if we can do that, but I guess if we got that on the discussion. Is there, I mean, yes, I don't even know if we can do that, but I figured I'd ask anyway.
I don't think you can grant it.
Yeah. You have this? I don't know an answer. Do you know?
Last I checked, it's statutory.
It is statutory.
So,
we have until February 29th. They could reach.
I mean, I'm even open to, I'm just brainstorming here, if we could just waive the late fees, if someone can prove their home. See, the thing is, people have lost their job all of a sudden, they can't work right now, they just lost their income.
Look, we can add it to discussion.
I mean, yeah,
we'll just add it to discussion, tornado relief.
It's where at?
It would be under, this would be under new business C, other items, it would be number 5.
Okay. You would actually have time to add it to February. Because it won't be due, it wouldn't be delinquent to March.
We can just add it as a discussion item. This is going to be a lengthy agenda today, but we'll just go ahead and add tornado relief to other items.
And I have an item on the agenda.
Yes.
So I would like to remove the items that didn't go through committee for our rules.
So which ones would you like to?
Except for the ones that need timely addressing, such as the election office.
Okay.
we have rules that say things should go, I'm looking at,
Could you name which ones you would like to see removed?
yes. So, highway did not give us some approval for additional funds tonight.
Okay, so I'm gonna end up having to take a vote on some of these, that's okay.
The sheriff's office did not go through health and emergency management.
Okay,
The stormwater did not clear general ops. The sheriff's multi-year lease did not clear health and emergency.
Which one's that?
C1.
Okay.
see, well, I'm gonna give her ask, and then I'm gonna ask, Mr. Long about issues stuff.
Yes.
So, C1, the okay, got it. So A3,
A3, A4,
all of A4.
A5.
You say all A4, is A4 out? You said.
All of 4.
All of 4?
None of it went through health and emergency.
Okay,
Oh, that's fine.
And 5,
And 5 didn't clear.
C1.
I just want them to do their work. I don't know what will happen.
okay. Is there any others?
You said C1?
C1 is the multi-lease. I don't know that, maybe that's a timing issue, Mr. Long can answer it.
They have.
Well, yeah, let me, I wanna go down each of these.
And then-
I wanna get all yours, and then I'm gonna go down and ask
And
each
then
of them.
I
There's
think
quite a bit
that
going on
C4
those.
should have went through general ops, but it's probably a timing issue with the election.
So let's just put it in there, and then we'll go down it. So
Yeah.
C4. Any others? So I just wanna
Does
make sure,
anyone else see anything that didn't go through committee?
so I just wanna make sure I have what you've got here. So, 6, so under new business, item number 3, we haven't amended it yet, but the request for appropriations, everything under the sheriff's office, the stormwater project, so 3, 4, and 5 under new business A appropriations, and then new business C, 1 and 4. Because of that, I think we would also have to add, the ones that I'm suggesting adding, which is 6, 7,
I'm looking.
6,
Oh,
7,
the new thing.
the new things.
Org chart did clear general ops,
Okay, well then I can leave
because
that.
they recommended sending it to budget.
Would it be more appropriate, I'm happy to go either way here, maybe we can just take a vote on it, but it'd be more appropriate to leave these, and then as we get to them, motion to defer.
Yes.
I think that would probably be the right way to do this. So it would be a motion to defer once we get to these. I've got it noted which ones they are, and then if you have a motion to defer, your motion to defer would be because they had not cleared budget. I think that would probably be the right way.
You've got people here to talk on it.
Yeah, so does that, I think that's, we do have a request on the floor, so if I need to take a vote for it, I'll do it. I do have yours, so let's do this.
Do we review, just a point of our discussion, do we review our rules before we get to them? As far as like why we're supposed to, be considered a committee, or do we do that when it first comes to, or we all know what those are?
I think we're familiar with the rules.
Okay.
I don't think there's a question that some of these didn't go through the process.
Okay.
I don't think there's a question. I think we're good there.
I passed out copies of the rules for everybody.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's a question on that. It's just a matter of how we want to address it. So I'm happy to take a vote on this if we'd like to take your vote, or if you want to
No, I'm good with
you're good to just defer.
And then we have a vote.
And then as we go down there, we'll take a vote to defer each time you want to move those up.
Well, the only thing is that I anticipate the ARPA discussion will go long, and if we have people speaking and we're not going to speak, then we're not going to address it. If we're having people wait, and we're not.
We only have 2 people speaking. I think we'll be okay. Okay, so then, without objection, I would add those changes which I just made. We will keep these. We won't remove them, but then, as we will address them as they come for potential deferment, which I totally understand that rationale. So without objection, do I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. We now have an agenda. Recognition of the public, Ms. Baker, Ms. Laura Baker.
Laura Baker, 424 Abbey Way Road.
Good evening, Commissioners. My topic was actually what Commissioner Boyd has brought up. Most of these items didn't go through. I think you should have modified it and taken it off of here. You shouldn't even have discussion because any of the information you could be getting this evening from whomever is probably preliminary and not full information and just going to cloud the issue when it should have never made it to the agenda in the first place. Not that it helps you by me second guessing that, and I apologize for that, but that's basically, I could go through each one of the items, but I think it's not worth it to do that, but just wanted to get that on the record.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Kevin Baker.
Kevin Baker, 424 Ivy Way Road, especially when she's got the cleanup hitter coming up behind her. Yeah, you know, I think one of the things I'm very concerned about is reverting back to the old days. And just what I just witnessed, I get the sense that we're back to the sky is falling mentality. You know, if it's not on the agenda early, y'all should just defer it. Don't let everybody run around here and tell you that it's a crisis. But that's just my 2 cents. So I was reviewing some of the things on here. The 3-star grant for $50,000. To me, this is just a backdoor way of funding forward Sumner. You know, I read through this thing, and first of all, I'm kind of embarrassed when we have a grant that says we have a one-of-a-kind countrywide alignment. Gosh, all across the country we're aligned. And then I read through and I see things like the baseline data to be filled out later, target values. If I ever went to my boss and said, oh yeah, I'll fill in the data later, kind of thing. But more importantly, we sat here through highway, and we're talking about funding highway department, roads, right? I can't think of something more fundamental to economic development than roads. Okay? If that 50 grand is burning a hole in our pocket, we should fund roads with that. That's something that our Constitution tells us to. Okay? It doesn't tell us to create positions called CTEs, which down the road, who's going to fund those? Okay? In the grant, we're creating CTEs and, you know, trainers, instructors, all this kind of stuff. Who's going to fund that? And we had, what, 14 people pass through one of the training programs for $400,000. That's not a great return on investment, if you ask me. But anyhow, that's my 2 cents on that one. Regarding the highway department, you know, the highway department has been underfunded for years. If you look at our tax rate, they get 1.2 cents out of our 2.52 tax rate. That's ridiculous. Roads are one of the most essential things that we have here. Everything revolves on roads. We should be funding that. But equally, we need to pay people, but we also need to be thinking, where do we save money? And that's why I say, when you look at that $2.52, our tax rate, there's an awful lot of money going somewhere else, the non-essential stuff when we're talking. Roads are defined in our Constitution. The Franklin Street Stormwater Project, I was looking through that data, and you know, I see that Turner, on their contract page, they have subcontractor default insurance, builder's risk, insurance and payment bond. I know we're going to be doing some things to the people that hoisted this project upon us in the first place, but that's the kind of stuff that we should be holding these people. They came to us and said they're going to build us a building. They should have taken into account our architect and all that stuff, but I know we're working on that, right? Right? All right. I was originally going to say something about the sheriff's office, about the $310,000 for outer load-bearing vests. To me, that sounded a lot like tactical gear. But I talked to Commissioner Wright, and he assures me that this is just to take the weight off the deputies' hips, and it's going to be a safety issue. I'm concerned about militarizing our police. So I just wanted to make that point because I made notes here, and now it looks like chicken scratch all over the place. The last item on my, SRO grant, step increase for remaining positions. we're gonna basically fund that out of ARPA money, right? That's where that money is coming from, but well, if that money, so that's gonna be an every year over year increase. We've got all these people coming to you, they pulled out the check, the credit card, you're gonna have to pay those bills pretty soon. You know, and I'm worried about that, for your own sake. And the last thing I might, think to talk about, election commission attorney request for funding. I read through that document, and I'm a little concerned, because I see, you know, we're basically dealing with a pretty high-paid lawyer out of Nashville. Have we seen any bills? How much is that costing us? And where's that funding coming from? I'm concerned about that. Just like with a few years back when the school board fought a lawsuit over open records, $250,000+ worth of legal fees kind of all of a sudden just went away. Where did they go? Now they're being paid somewhere, and I'm concerned about that. Mr. Lee doesn't work for free. All right, that's all I have to say. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Approval of the December minutes. Do I have a motion?
So, second.
All in favor? Any, I'm gonna abstain on this one. I was not here. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. I have no report, Mr. Mayor.
No report.
Alrighty, Mr. Long, I know you have a considerable report, so I'll hand that forward to you.
On page number 8 is the first portion of my report, and it is actually the ARPA information.
Talking about this one?
Yeah.
Here you go.
A couple of things to point out on this. This is the actual ARPA report when everybody gets here. There's two groups of revenue. There's your general revenue, which is quite restricted. It's restricted down to things such as water line grants, COVID-19 treatment or prevention, or broadband, and a couple of other items. Then the other items, the revenue replacement, which is generally anything that's allowed to be purchased from government funds, as long as we're following procurement, a couple of other items. If you go down to there, we're showing like $2.5 million unallocated for the general and about 1.1 for the revenue replacement. We need to remember a couple of dates. December 31st of this year, you have to have all those money under contract, or we're going to lose them. By the following December, you have to have all those funds out the door. So you're really running into the last thing, and a couple of them that brings up particular concerns is the maintenance building. There's $1.7 million actually allocated toward it, but there's actually a lawsuit filed about the building at this point, so it's stopped the project. So these are kind of different, is it not? It's on the same building, but it's just not going to stop us. So we can't.
The lawsuit has nothing to do with this 1.7 million.
So we can build in that building for maintenance facility?
No, it's totally different. We're talking, this 1.7 was what was left over from the maintenance building that was being built on the EMS property. The chairman of General Locke says he has a plan that he's bringing forward on that.
But I thought it was the building over there that we already had. So we're in a different.
Well, Mayor brought the idea of the TRC building.
Well, that's what we.
That's the one
That's one under street right.
that's a problem, and what it would have cost, or what it would cost once we're out of that lawsuit.
But do we have a separate, another,
There was.
let me just run the problem. We got a $1.7 million that we need to have allocated, appropriated and allocated by this year.
Yeah,
So do we have a plan for that?
I will have a plan shortly.
Okay.
Here's my only thought.
Hold on a second, Ms. Boyd. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. So, I would like to take a different look at the revenue replacement. So, y'all know I'm an accountant, so we lose money a lot, accountants do. So this is money we can spend on anything. We don't need to feel constrained by time. We could actually take this money right now and pay the electric bill for all our buildings. We can pay it out of this. And then the money that's in the general fund that we would have paid the electric bills, we can come in at a later date with no time restrictions at all and take care of all these things. We can take all the time pressure off, and we can do that. This is totally unrestricted.
What I think she's kind of leaning toward is every year you buy a significant amount of ambulances and patrol cars. It would be very easy to buy the ambulance, as long as you follow federal procurement. It would need to go through Ms. Northlead and back to their consultants. But if you bought the ambulances and patrol cars instead of this building with this, those same dollars then would be available.
They'd be sitting in the
It gets rid of all your time.
I understand
So
that.
we take all of this, take the time off, we'll have our money, there's no doubt, we're not gonna run up against any time.
Well,
Discussion still.
yeah, well, we don't have a motion on the table at all. We're kind of out of order right now, so. Well, we don't even have a motion up for discussion.
Yeah, we're
just
having a
entertain
discussion.
Well, we're not, because we don't have a motion for discussion.
Oh,
He's on his report. I'm not trying to be,
But the
not trying to be hard.
I'm sorry.
But the thought process of the funds being fungible, that's a very good thought
Yeah,
process.
that's a good
You
thought.
go ahead and grab ambulances, sheriff's department, and then you'll have that money local to kind of get some of these time constraints going before they go to this. For instance, like the one for the sheriff's department, mini micro vote link, I don't think they reached out to Ms. Northfield or the consultant at this point. So right now, these items out there's several of these items that have, there's not got a lot of movement right now, and I think Ms. Northfield probably wants to go on it too. But that's my concern right now. You are running up against a time frame on this particular thing.
All right.
Are we done with the report?
I think we're done with this one unless you have anything more on that one. So now revenue analysis.
Yes, revenue analysis is the next sheet.
So, point of order. Go ahead. So, are we gonna be coming back to Austin? Well, we can make, like a motion to discuss?
Yeah.
Would you like to make a motion?
Yes.
Motion and second, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Go ahead. Who'd like to get in queue?
I have a quick question for
Go for it.
Mr. Lang, if I may.
Go for it.
Mr. Lang, is it possible in the future with the ARPA that, I know that some of these line items in general, some of that money has been spent,
Yes.
and same with the revenue replacement, and obviously with the total. Would it be possible to get what's been spent, which would allow us to see what's left on each road?
That's what I was kind of leading to right now, is the ones that are really not spent is that 50, or not allocating for them. As far as the revenue replacement is the 50, the 1 point and approximately $7 million on the EMS.
Which,
The 50 in the sheriff's office at the bottom?
Just hold up here.
What page is it?
Page number 8.
Get up there.
Hey,
Through that one. There's all that.
Okay. That's not, no, but the ones I was saying right now that we know that there's not been a lot of movement on is a couple. The $50,000 for the sheriff's office mini microwave link, and that's something that they really need to reach out to Ms. Northlead and try to move forward if it's going to move forward. The other thing is the ECC alert system. If you look at the note, that's only 32% of the total, so the actual committee down there probably, because Ms. Northlead's one's been handling it, we probably need to see if she can reach out to them and see if they're actually going to move forward on that one. The 406 is the one that did the actual, they were actually doing the surveying last month, so it has got some movement on it.
but that's probably a small portion, I would think, if it's just surveying.
The next one going, yes, but it's moving forward.
Yeah.
The 379 is the one for all the highway equipment. It has moved forward. It's 76 also. The 2.6 is his actual asphalt that he's bidding, and he's been moving forward on it. The one that's not moving forward, or apparently it's getting ready to move forward, is the actual maintenance facility, the $1.721 million. But my concern is building a building in the next 2 years. You're kind of running up.
So I missed this one, are we on?
I'm sorry, we're on the revenue replacement going, the middle column going up.
Right, I was there, but which one is it?
Maintenance building number 3.
Number 3.
From the bottom, the $1,721,000.
Right, I just want to make sure that.
And the other one is the EMS, the one that would be the non-COVID treatment EMS center for the 1.76. I believe, and that'd be a question more for the mayor, I believe we moved 2 EMS structures right now, we're working on that. So it is moving forward. The consultants, we actually have a contract, and the 1.61, that's the estimates to complete the EMS, ARPA, and what we've spent on the sheriff's department until this coming year when it has to drop off. The sheriff's has already gone on the ARPA, so that money's already tied up unless you're a budget cycle, and if we do a local leadership.
You're saying that 1.61 is tied up or not? I just need to know.
It's been tied up.
Can we just do that? What's not?
Okay, what's really not tied up at this point is if you look at the bottom and you go down the revenue replacement, there's $1.18 million that's not got anything tied up to it right now.
But the EMS building, maintenance building.
Right, there's the
ETC alert, sheriff's office, that's technically not tied up.
They've been appropriated, but they haven't reached out as far as they haven't started any procurement processes at this point. They need to know is the process is after you guys appropriate, they should reach out to Ms. Norfleet to determine what we need to do on the federal procurement. She contacts our consultants, they work together, and they go through purchasing, and we actually start procuring the items. These items have been appropriated, but on the 50,101, there's been no movement toward procurement, unless I'm mistaken, toward Ms. Norfleet that I'm aware of, consultants, or toward my office. So they're kind of sitting there. The 406 has got they were surveying it. They started the surveying process. The 379, Toby's spent that. The 76 spent, the 2.6, he's going to spend that. He's spending it on asphalt. The EMS building is one that's moving forward, but that's one I'm concerned on the time frames. You may want to think about buying ambulances and patrol cars and using local capital to do the building itself, to go ahead and move it out of the prospect. You've kind of got the same time restraints on these 2 EMS buildings. They are moving forward, but actually having all the contracts tied up and all the cash out the door by next December is going to be potentially a push if you run into any problems. But they are small buildings, so it's not impossible by any means. The next amount up through there is for the health department. That's the one for the health department grant that was discussed back at the budget cycle, and I believe it is working with Hal right now moving forward. It's got movement, it's getting ready to move toward the procurement phase, if I'm not mistaken. The architect. So it is moving forward. And then when you come up the next side, most of those have been tied up, same thing with the EMS building. EMS equipment, that was the ones you guys bought last year. Yeah. Long haul improvements, the one Josh is working on, so he's got a lot of movement. Economic development was already, that was the remaining portion that was given earlier to, I believe, Ford Sumner. I have to go back and look. That's the health department grant again on the 661,400 on the general. The $10 million is one that they were going to use toward the group grant with the county. I believe they went and applied for that. I'm not sure if it's been awarded. That will need to be clarified because there was some concern on the resolution.
Yeah, that's its own.
That may need to be put on the agenda next time.
That needs to be put onto the agenda next time.
That's the 10 million.
That's the 10 million, because I just want to note here. So there was a bunch of screaming that if we put constraints on the 10 million, that we may not win a competitive grant. I mean, I was cast like the devil incarnate over this, and lo and behold, we won. We got the competitive grant, right, Ms. Norfleet? Sorry, I'm not trying to be smart here. I just caught a lot for that, but we got it, right? As long as these individuals actually, as long as these other these cities sign on to that, we'll win it, right? So anyway, we'll put that on next time.
Here's the only reason I bring it up, because the original resolution that was approved right before they applied said, it talks about the competitive and non-competitive, and leads you to believe that all the funds, it says, be it further resolved that approval of the disbursement of grant funds of the county for this project shall be conditioned on the city, and they give all these conditions. My question, that's something this committee is going to determine, is this the same project or a different project? Is it subject to this, and if so, do we need to remove the resolution? That's my thinking.
Look, it needs to get that. Well, let's put that on. We'll put that on. Is there a time constraint on that, or do we need to?
There is, in the fact that it has to move forward, and it is subject to that December deadline, so it's moving forward.
I know we're asking Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules to ask a question over here.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ms. Norfleet, in your opinion, if we've got a lengthy agenda tonight, I would like to have this discussion during next month's agenda because it is its own discussion, and it probably also has implications for legislative. Is it gonna be, is it the end of the world if we put this on for next month as opposed to this month?
We're still waiting on the grant contract from today, but
So there's,
it was going to fund the architectural or the engineering services, get them moving forward on the design process. So it was going to be a portion of the engineering fees was going to come from this funding. And it was where we could, the funding's already been budgeted, so once we get that budget, then bring it in close to the city itself.
when's the earliest you would owe that bill?
I don't know if the contract will be within, I know at the last meeting, or meeting every 2 weeks, but the last meeting, they were working to get those engineering contracts in place. We meet at the end of Thursday, so I'll have a better idea on that time frame, this Thursday.
Okay. Ms. Boyd?
So, I just wanted to go back to the discussion that I started inappropriately during Mr. Long's report. So I would like our budget committee to consider what I am presenting, that we could use this money out of operating expenses that we would take out of the general fund anyway. And then later, when these projects are ready or we proceed with them, we will have the money in the general fund that we would have used for our regular daily operating expenses. And we will remove the timeline off of the, I'm just talking about the revenue replacement at this time. And that would be the most prudent thing to do.
Do you have a line by line on what you would replace
I would
each
take every
for each?
bit of it that we have remaining, all the money, and pay it from our general for our daily operations. We'll be leaving the money over there.
No, I understand that, but I mean,
So,
Why don't we,
go ahead.
could we have me and Ms. Norfleet to look, because I think what she's talking about is the revenue replacement. And not
that's what I'm talking
necessarily
about right now.
operating, but there's certain expenses we could put toward that. And as I said, we could buy patrol cars and ambulances and then kind of this 1.18 and this other, put it in the
So-
general revenue spend out.
Let me suggest a motion.
And I'm even
Go ahead.
thinking more than the 1.18. Because we've got buildings in here that we might run into problems with. So the most,
The 27 million, we couldn't do that with the 27.
no, I know that, I'll run that, yeah, we
Ms.
can't, I
Boyd,
know,
let
I'm
me-
just speaking specifically.
Let me suggest something real quick and see if you would be good with this motion. It would be your motion, and that would be direct, Mr. Long and Ms. Norfleet to build a sort of a pro forma for what a potential movement of funding from here toward just general expenses that we may have, to include like purchases that we might expect, that would come out of our general fund, and then present that at next budget. Would you be interested in making that kind of a motion?
I understand what you're saying, but I can't imagine that we couldn't spend all that money. We spend a lot of money every day. If you're talking about a pro forma of what we could spend it on, I'm sure they could find plenty of things.
We'll try to see what we can do about this spend and can, but you gotta remember, you've got the revenue replacement, which is,
Right, and I'm
heavily
only
restricted.
speaking to the revenue.
but it still falls
replacement.
under procurement and stuff, a couple of other requirements, so we'll have to look at all that.
Can you spend the money?
Going forward, you can buy ambulances and, patrol cars, clearly, if you procure them.
Between now and 2022.
Yeah, if you procure them, you could buy those and use that money and leave that money in low.
And we've already,
Or take
we've
some
we've already had some of that we've been spending with that we didn't.
But you could do it.
And we just expanded.
You could expand it, or see if this year's been bought yet, I think we've already bought this year's. But either way, we could go back and see if there's some that we can qualify. Now, we'd have to look at it with Ms. Norfleet and the consultants, but it would only be the revenue replacement, because the general revenues have restrictions.
Right, I'm
Like
clear.
water line, broadband.
So this discussion is only on the replacement, right?
Predominant, we can look at the other, but I don't think there's gonna be,
I know on the
A lot of
other,
things.
I'm working on it, I'm thinking of it.
I just have a point of clarification, because I'm confused. I thought we had till December 31st, 2024 to make the decision.
You've got to have it under contract by the end of law. You've got to 25 to have the cash out the door, so you're gonna need it, basically, all your contracts for construction, architectural, everything done, and every bit of cash out the door. So if you do a contract for this building and it goes more, it's coming from local. If it goes less, then we're gonna lose it if you tie into that.
Okay, so everything has to be contracted.
It's gotta be tied up.
It's gotta be appropriated and allocated.
Allocated and contracted.
Okay.
And then you're gonna have the cash out the door.
Let me get
the next piece.
Okay.
Ms. Mansfield?
26 out the door will be up.
Hey, are we making sessions?
We're not, actually, we'll go back into, do we have any other questions for Ms. Norfleet? All right, I'll pull us back into our,
Ms. Norfleet said 26, let's make sure we're on the right time frame here.
Yes, December of 2024 is the obligation, and then in 2025.
I'm sorry, 26.
26.
Yes,
Two-
suspended
two-
by 26. 2 years, right, so I said 25.
any other questions for Ms. Norfleet?
2 years, 2 years.
I'll pull us back under our typical rules, and then, Ms. Miller, do you have questions? Do you have no? Ms. Boyd?
So I would like to make a motion that we protect this revenue replacement by doing what I'm suggesting, by using it for regular, as much as possible, and I don't see why we couldn't use every bit of it right now, for general fund operations.
I'm gonna,
It's protected and we never lose it. The money's sitting over there, and there's another side item to this. We put this money over there, we unappropriate it for the moment, and we've got all these expenses coming in for the courthouse. We just saw the $600,000 hit. We might change our mind on building a new EMS in Westmoreland. Once the courthouse, we get another $600,000 bill, we might be rethinking our budget a lot. So I'm just saying, right now, we move this, we unappropriate what's remaining here, and we use this money for regular operations. That's my motion.
we have a motion and a second. I'm gonna get in queue on this one. Anybody else in queue? I'm good with this in principle. I just wanna know kind of like what, if we do that, I mean, in principle, I understand, we start draining over here, and then we're saving over here. I get the idea. The only thing I worry about on that is if there are any of these that are in some current phase of being,
That's what I was asking the mayor.
some kind of current phase of being spent that would then cause these to have a problem with them. So I would like to amend that to state basically what I had said earlier. I'd like to amend your motion to direct the law director, direct the finance director to work with the county mayor's office and get a summary of everything under the revenue replacement, which is not currently appropriated or allocated, and then you have that mapped over to expenses that we will have moving forward.
This isn't appropriated, but some of these aren't actually spent. You mean they don't have a contract?
That don't have a contract.
They're not encumbered.
They're not encumbered. They're not unencumbered. So that's what I would like to do. I'd like to amend that to that. Is there a second on that?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Boyd?
So as far as discussion, my point here, what I'm making is an accounting suggestion. I agree with you that we do need a project list, so to speak, of all these items, and I would love to have those. I'd like to put those on hold and unappropriate things for the moment. That money's going to be over in the general fund. It's just an accounting trick is all I'm suggesting. My husband will tell you, I'm an accountant. I just play with tricks. I'm saying we're moving the money from over here and we're taking it over there. Any project that we have in process right now, the money's still sitting over in the general fund. We would have used it to pay the electric bill, but now we've paid the electric bill, so the money's still over here. But yes, I desperately would like to see a list of where we're at on all these projects.
Why don't we just have me and Ms. Norfleet work with our consultants and see what costs that we've already spent can be legitimately allocated to revenue.
Yeah, that's basically what
And then see what other costs that we generally spend, like, if we don't find enough that we can legitimately allocate, then look at costs that we generally spend, like ambulances and sheriff's departments, we spend quickly and get all this off our money. Because we're gonna buy those next year anyway,
Yes.
and get those all off our.
Go ahead, Chairman. I would hope that we could, this is just a suggestion, that the maker of the motion and the second
would do maybe is to have asked, Ms. Boyd, as part of my amendment, would be to ask Ms. Boyd to work with, not myself, just to ask Ms. Boyd to work with the finance director in order to bring that back.
Well, that would be fine, and that would not, my intention would not have been to, evade any kind of provision of the law having to do with the sunshine law.
No, I
always notified of any kind of meeting, but that's fine, but I think Ms. Boyd, since she's the maker of the motion and very qualified, should be involved.
And just to be clear, I was not, did not mean to suggest you were
Make sure,
suggesting that.
I'm not missing something, but I think if we just come back, Ms. Boyd and any of us, and we just come back with a listing of possible allocable expenses in the future, and we make no recommendation, I don't think the subcommittee would be subject to some, we're not making recommendations. We're only bringing back a list of them.
If you just count things up.
Right, if we do that, I don't think it would be subject to sunshine.
It's a list for you to deliberate.
That's correct. This committee will deliver, we're just making a list back, and no recommendations for which ones to take. Would that be correct?
So, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, on 1-5, I did send out a projects update to all the commissioners that gave you an update of where we were with all the capital projects as well as the ARPA projects. So if you look through your emails, you're welcome to refer to that for an update.
Got it, and thank you, sir. This is a little different than that, because this is really that would be helpful, but I think this is actually a rundown of what has been allocated and encumbered. Ms. Boyd?
So I think what I see here is two pieces. I'm asking for an accounting transaction where we move, I'm asking for a vote on, my motion is a vote on moving the revenue replacement and using it for daily operations to protect that money, take away the timeline, and then move these needs. We'll have the money sitting in our general
Right,
fund.
we're on my amendment now, though.
And then and the amendment's the second item. With that, I'd like it to be on hold for the moment. I'd like a list, so I'm making a motion that we do the accounting transaction.
Yes.
As far as the list, I'd like the list, but if we're moving it, I would like to unappropriate the money that's over here until completed.
I know, that's your motion. The amendment is
Get a list.
to have, no, the amendment is to have now, because I changed it, if the second's good with it, is to have the finance director, you, and the mayor's office to study this problem. It's more than just a list, and to bring back an accounting, a deeper analysis of the accounting. That's what can be allocated. So
I have a
are you good with that? All right,
I have a
Ms. Nellis.
question. I guess I'll be the bad guy. I mean, if they have a whole nother month, they could allocate every penny of it between now and then. So I'm going to vote no on your amendment.
Okay.
For that.
I think,
Okay. Go ahead.
so we can't have both. Either we vote to do this operational thing and protect this money, or you're saying we vote to postpone it to another day.
I think your amendment makes sense.
Your amendment
Yeah.
is not.
Your amendment's a no to her.
Well, it's just, you can make an amendment to, I can make an amendment to change the name of the color blue in all of our, that's just the way it kind of, but I get your point. Yeah, Lord, it wouldn't be germane.
I think she's going to go.
Right, Ms. Klein, go ahead.
If your amendment, I have no problem with your amendment having those two get together, provided her proposal or motion goes through anyway. So it ties the money up until they get everything figured out, which is probably our next meeting.
The only question I have about that is that going to break something? Is there a contract we're about to sign that would move one of these things forward, and now we're going to kick that can down the road because it got tied up? That's what I'm trying to avoid.
Well, any contract that's been executed, we could say that is excluded from the public.
That's what this amendment's for.
For instance, he's got surveyors going out to Oak Grove. We pay that contract and then we stop. We don't make another step forward until we hear back from those two,
And they're
that's,
pretty slow anyway. Probably not gonna be a lot of movement in 1 month anyway, to be honest.
Mr. Mayor, you had your hand up.
Well, I guess my question is, do you want us to stop? We've got RFQs going out, the surveys going out. We talked about possibly killing one of the EMS stations. You want us to stop until y'all make a decision?
That's the question here. I don't, like,
I don't want to waste money.
I don't want to
Taxpayer dollars doing surveys and all of this if you're going to kill the project. I don't want to waste taxpayer dollars. So I don't.
And I agree, I don't want to waste taxpayer dollars either. I think that 3 or 4 weeks, we'll have it back and then
So
we'll
are you,
have time.
I just want to be clear, are you asking the mayor's office to stop on these projects during this month?
I have no idea where they're at on any of it. I mean, I know that we have a
But-
list. So are we in the process of purchasing, may I see?
Yes, yes,
To suspend, I mean.
yeah, we.
Yeah, in the-
Director, man, he-
Here, let me tell you, so this is
So
what I emailed to you. Let's see, so let me go back here, let's see, we're gonna talk about the courthouse. Health Department, grant contract has been executed with State of Tennessee Capital Investment Grant. Request for qualifications has been advertised for architectural engineering firms, that's due in January. The Hollows Drainage Improvement Project, design is completed through the OHM advisors. Community meeting was held in November 23, presented project update to budget December 23. Next phase will be proceed with the easements. Then to obtain pricing for construction with Sumner County Highway and advertise the bid process if necessary. Oak Grove Volunteer Fire Department, we've got a PO out for the survey right now. So that's about to get started. The soil survey and soil investigation to be completed first to determine the area necessary for the project. Then we'll create the legal description from that survey, which the Resource Authority will execute a quitclaim deed. At that point, January, we're releasing the request for qualifications for architectural engineering services, the broadband that's in place, and then the EMS building. We've identified land in Westmoreland, doing a survey on that. The appraisal should be complete as soon as we get quotes from appraisers. We're working with the Board of Education on the area in White House. Talked with the director of schools today. I think we may have some land in White House that the schools will gift us to build a station in White House. And we're going to release the request for qualifications also for architectural and engineering services for the Westmoreland and White House. We're hoping to put the same building on both lots. And then we've got some others down here. Most of those are in place.
Is that it, Ms. Lynn? Ms. Mansfield?
Can you please tell us what location that the Board of Education in White House, where is that location, please?
It's over there near the school system.
The elementary in the middle school complex?
Yeah, it's one of the fields there. They were going to build a stadium in that area, but my understanding that has changed the location, so it may be available for us. I've got to look at it on the map and see if it would work for EMS.
You're still here.
Can you explain what you mean by there was going to be a stadium built, a stadium for what? For whom?
Something with the school system. They were unsure if we could use that land, so they were going to do something with athletic facilities or not, so it may be available for us at this point. So we're in the, I'm just letting you know I had that discussion today. It's not fully fleshed out.
I guess when you say they're not, is that because you're working towards building an EMS station, or is it because they've abandoned that together, regardless of what somebody else wants to use it for?
That would be a question for the director of schools. I didn't ask him anything about what they were doing. I just asked him, hey, is there an opportunity for us? And he said there may be. And we're looking, and that will save us having to buy land in White House.
Ms. Mansfield, is that it? Ms. Boyd?
I did read your list today. I appreciate you emailing it to me, or to all of us. I'm not suggesting that we lose any money here. I'm just suggesting that we take a moment. Of the items that you suggested, I mean, the Oak Grove we've been working on for 1.5 years. That would be, I personally went to meetings and asked for that. It's not coming today, tomorrow, maybe next week. the items that we're in process, we're not gonna lose money on. The money's still gonna be over in the general fund. I'm just saying, let's take a moment to look at it. This month, last week, we just got the new bill for $600,000 for the storm drainage. I'm just saying, we need to take a moment, secure this money because of the time frame, move the other money over here and take a new look at it using the courthouse increased cost.
And the accounting issues, I don't have a problem with. Y'all moving money accounting-wise. What concerned me is when the comment was made that we may not do an EMS station. So at that point, I want to stop spending money on it if we're not going to do it. That was my concern. However y'all do the accounting is your business with our finance director.
And I would like to stop for a moment and see where we're at. I mean, the courthouse just became a topic in the last few weeks. And we've just incurred tremendous new costs. So do we not take a moment to reconsider? And that's what I'm asking for.
So if you can put, go ahead.
I'm sorry, so my motion is on the table.
Well, we're still on the amendment, and the amendment is to basically do what you're saying, but we're not gonna stop. The difference between what we're saying is, yours seems like we're putting a stop to anything which is potentially currently even encumbered. And mine is saying, no, we're not doing that. We're gonna continue what we're doing, but we're gonna convene this working group for those things which are not encumbered, which know to not be encumbered, and then come back and look at those.
Call the question.
All right, same. All right, all in favor of calling the question? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. So all in favor, we're on the amendment. All in favor of the amendment? Aye. Aye. All opposed?
No.
Okay. Well, all in favor of the amendment? Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay. Win some, lose some. Let's do this.
What's the actual motion?
So, the motion is to cease work on, well, go ahead and restate it.
That's not how much.
Well, go ahead. My understanding from what you said was that we would cease work on anything that was under the revenue replacement until we do a reassessment.
So that we all know. I mean,
What is that? Not the so, I mean, but that's what you're saying, cease work.
well, there were many items on here we didn't even know what they were.
Right, but you're saying to cease work.
Yes.
Okay.
That by itself,
Well, that's what we voted for.
I'm for your amendment with that, just to clear it.
Well, yeah, but my amendment failed.
Right, no,
So now
I'd like to make a motion.
go ahead.
I think
That Commissioner Boyd and Mr. Loring work together to ascertain what the details are on the monies.
I'll go with the mayor and Ms. Norfleet, because what I think the thing is, we need to identify previous costs that could easily identify as just allowable and future costs. That way we can pay these claims, not timely, but I'm not sure about that.
I would change my motion to include Ms. Norfleet and
Maybe the mayor.
All right, we got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Oh, go ahead.
Can you restate it, everybody talking at the same time?
Commissioner Boyd, Mr. Loring, Mayor Isbell, and Kim Norfleet work together on discovery on where these monies are, where they can be positioned in expenditures. And we had a second from Commissioner Miller.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously. Now we can go to item B, under your report.
Item B is the revenue analysis, and I'll go through this one really quickly. If we go to this page right here, which is the second page, which is the report one, it shows how the revenue variances, and I'll go through quite a large amount of variances, and I can go through why we've got large variances. Item number one, if you look, we're about $3.9 million estimated dollars up on property tax. About $3 million of that, about 3 points.
Are you on this sheet?
It's on page number 2. I'm probably slow down a little bit. Page number 2.
All right.
If you go to the right and you start looking at the variances, it has on the far right the estimated percentages. Beside that, your variance on the budget. The first thing is things look very good right now. A couple of things make them look very, very good, even better than they actually are. And we'll go down. The first one's property taxes. We're showing 2.72% above, or slightly below, like 2.75% above budget, which is about $3.9 million. Of that, we think about a little over $3 million will go to the schools. The reason being, back when you originally did the budget, you left the property tax the same, but you budgeted them MOE. So what happens is you've actually got the budgeted property taxes for the year before, so they're going to be significantly above revenue projections. That's why there's $3 million. The next one, if you look, we're about 148% on trustees collections prior year, but if you go down a couple of lines, you're 620,000 short. What happened was the trustee's office actually has 2 years of delinquent taxes. They did turn over 1 year to the clerk of master's office, so that item was going to be short, but the other item was going to be over. And that happened because they missed the time to advertise to turn over the taxes, so they're carrying an extra year. If you go down through there, most of them's got smaller amounts or variances. They all look good by and large. Sales tax, the same thing. We actually budgeted MOE, so when we did that, we brought sales tax to the year before amount, so they're going to be much higher in the schools and the debt service fund because we put them back at the year before amounts.
Does that increase their MOE?
No, because it's based on budget. So what they did, they basically budgeted MOE the year before, but actually let property tax and sales tax automatically stays in tax, so they're going to have additional revenues. You go down to will tax, the same thing. The will tax, because the school budget MOE and the school and highway are percentages, they're budgeting on the year before, so they're $478,000. Those are your large variances down through there. And then the next one is adequate facilities tax. There's been a concern on the economy and a concern of hopefully slowing down growth. That's what we budgeted based on, but right now I haven't seen any real changes in adequate facilities tax. If anything, it's actually still up. Same thing on your building permits. So right now, by and large, we were concerned about sales tax because last time I've been here, we were showing a downward pattern. I can report that pattern has changed, and I believe this past month that we've received is about 6.7% above last year's actuals, which is about normal again. We had a bad month or two, but it's went back to more of a normalized number.
I have a question about taxes. I just learned about this today, and I have no idea if it's big or small or what it is, the volume. I was told that Sumner County has the most parcels divided of any county in the nation, or something like that. Divided? We're dividing up big lots and making them smaller.
So we have parcels here. We have 90.
We're making more parcels than any other county. So my question is, the trustee's office was explaining to me about how we do rollback for the, how much money do we get for that? Can you explain to everybody what I'm talking about?
John may will explain it to you better. It's basically when they go off of green belt, there's a rollback if they use it for certain things after it comes off.
It's a 3-year rollback. Green belt is designed as an agricultural benefit for 15 or more acres. You also can get it for satellite parcels. But basically, the way that program, if you do subdivide and fall under that 15 acres, there is a rollback where the taxpayer has to pay 3 years of the unrealized gain that they have. So,
is that significant? Because they were showing me transaction amounts. They were showing me they had a lot of volume. I just had no idea what the number. It's small.
Not a whole lot.
It doesn't make a lot of dollars.
Yeah.
I just didn't know. I had no idea. I just wanted to ask.
It does make some, but it doesn't make a lot of dollars. And we can
I had no idea if it was $5,000 or $500,000.
In the long term, it does increase your tax basis, but the rollback itself doesn't create a significant dollar.
Thank you.
But that is the end of the revenue report unless somebody's got some questions. Things look well, but they're actually a little bit artificially good looking because we budgeted the school's property tax, sales tax, and the tax is based on the year before.
Based on what?
On the year before.
We assume no growth.
You assume no growth because schools took MOE. Well, the sales tax only goes 2 places, the schools and debt service. We took debt service the year before to match them up. And then your will tax only goes 2 places, highway and schools, so we match them up. So there's a lot around. And then adequate facilities and your building permits do not seem to be significantly impacted by anything right now.
Highly inadequate.
They're continuing on, though. Our concern was those were going to drop off because of the interest rates, but you can't see it. We haven't seen a significant fall down on any of those. And unless anybody's got any questions, that's the end of the revenue analysis. Item C is actually just the memorandum telling all commissioners and interested parties the financial statements are available on the website. If any commissioner wants a copy, we will print them a copy. And then the next one is the transfers. Item A is what you guys approved last month for Josh. That's just the accounting for it. But since I'm not, you technically, I think through your minutes approved it last month, but you may want to review it and approve it again.
May want, what did you say?
You actually approved it, said to go ahead and move forward and bring it back this month, but probably best for the minutes to still approve it, even though it's an action you've already taken, because it's the actual details.
We need a motion on that?
Make sure they're out. I would.
My motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Item B is where the sheriff's department's asking you to take money out of health insurance and move it over to overtime. They do have extra money because they've had vacancies and other
I'd
items.
entertain a motion.
Motion.
We have a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
The next item is just other inter-budgetaries, and that is actually adjustments between line items. There's nothing unusual in there compared to previous years, but if anybody's got any questions, I'll be happy to answer any questions about those. Yes, sir.
So on page 14, Hendersonville Library stuff at the bottom, $200 for landscaping needs. I'm just curious what that is, because when you read the resolution, that we're kind of in limbo and legislative. The city of Hendersonville is responsible for all the landscaping, so I don't know what that.
Probably something small they've done over there. We can pull it if you want me to and see what they've actually done, but
It's just, this has already been spent.
yes, these are small items they've spent. They're so small, we didn't even really, there's been some questions about who's responsible for what over there.
I know, we're in the middle of trying to figure that out, so it's still ongoing.
But anything small, we've not really questioned. I think, most of like the maintenance, the mayor's been working with them on that to try to get an agreement.
Is there any note on this one, Mr. Mayor? All right.
No, I can get you an answer and email it out.
Is there a motion on this?
Well, I'll make a motion to investigate what that's for.
Yeah.
Second.
Okay.
I'll send you something out.
All right, all in favor? There you go. Okay.
I do have some more questions.
Oh, go ahead. Mr. Mansfield?
So the county buildings, $5,000 for the Hendersonville Library repair. I know in September legislative, we had asked the county mayor to proceed with that. And is this a total repair, or like the total cost and the Hendersonville reimbursing us, or do we know what portion?
No, this is the total repair.
That's
Yeah,
the
we
total.
have not, until y'all work out an agreement, we haven't asked for anything.
Okay, I just wasn't sure, so I want to make sure.
Right.
We have to show the entire expense, so we have all of it, must be reimbursed.
If I may, that was one of those deals that were so necessary that we said, let's cut the check and we'll deal with
Correct. And
paying it
back
later.
Yeah, I remember that, but I just wasn't sure what the total bill was. So you confirmed this is the total fix for that.
It was exactly $5,000.
Well, there's probably some already money, there's probably already money in the line item, that's probably keep the line item.
Oh, okay.
Anything
We
else?
can look and see, but, it wouldn't have been exact.
So I have a question, on the first line item with the GNRC dues. Did they go up, or did we forget to budget for them?
We've always historically paid those through the county commission. I went and looked at that, and last year they were $19,602. This year they're $21,069. They used to be 35 cents per capita. They went to 37 cents per capita, so they had an increase that we didn't know about. It's a small one.
So in total, we pay how much?
Last year we paid $19,602 and some odd change. This year we paid $26,069. That's the difference. But yes, they did increase their cost from 35 cents per capita to 37.
Mr. Klein?
And what do we get from
Yes.
I was about to ask that.
They help with, my understanding, various grants, and that would be more for the mayor probably.
Mr. Mayor?
Most of it has to do with the MPO and the road project. Is really the only benefit that I see. And we can use them for special projects, but we don't.
Why are we,
What break, well, go ahead. Go,
so why are we paying dues?
Yeah, I was gonna ask that one. What breaks if we just don't do that next year?
I'll ask that question.
Okay.
I'll make a motion
Go ahead.
to ask that question for the county.
Yeah.
Report back to us.
Second.
Already written it down.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I'd like to ask the finance director to bring us a list of all dues that we pay, because I think we have dues, a lot of dues we pay.
Most of the
That we
county.
don't understand.
We'll get somebody to start working
motion, she made a second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay,
Get somebody from the county.
and that was a motion to request all the dues.
We'll just get somebody from the county.
That's fine.
And bring it next month.
That's fine. Okay, Mr. Long, continue, please. Or actually, this is all interbudget. Any other questions on interbudgetary? Okay.
I do have
Ms. Boyd?
one. On the second page, I was looking just because, the idea of the new courthouse and the SQL service license. I just want to ask, are there any more license? I mean, did this one just pop in? Is there going to be another one next month? I have no idea. What?
These were things we were budgeting, they were all under construction, so we're just moving them toward the appropriate line item. There was hundreds of thousands of dollars budgeted for IT equipment over there, so it was part of the original estimates. These were, like the water, the runoff water was not, but this was part of the original estimate.
So to be clear, there's no, we don't see any more right now.
We're not thinking that's gonna cause us to have to ask for additional money. That's what you're asking. It was online.
What does SQL stand for?
It's an IT request. It's for database management.
It's a database on.
Well, what SQL is a language, and what they're requesting for here, I'm sure, is a software platform that allows us to make queries on large data sets.
Okay.
And just for clarification, I'm sorry to take people's time, is this because we're moving, the judicial from the sheriff's IT to our IT?
It's not the sheriff, it's everybody else. Yeah, it's everybody but the sheriff from moving to the courthouse.
Everybody, and that's all we need there.
Yes.
Thank you.
And there'll be new servers, and it'll be a whole new building.
Any other questions on your budgetary? All right, all in favor, I can entertain a motion to approve, subject to those amendments. All, motion, we have a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
No.
All right, we have one no, Mr. Mansfield. Two no's, Mr. Mansfield and Ms. Miller. Okay, moving on, you have anything else, Mr. Long?
That's into my report, Mr.
Moving on to old business, City of Gallatin, Mr. Mayor, I think you would probably have the update for this one.
I have not talked to her about the 900,000. We've been working on the stormwater issue. I'll be happy to place a phone call on that.
Yes, please. Okay, no, we will take no action on that one. Moving toward, new business. So item number A1, County Mayor $50,000 for the 3-star grant. Mr. Mayor, I'll let you elaborate. This is the second reading this past week.
Second reading, yeah, we sent out all the information. If anybody has any questions.
I'd entertain a motion. Motion for discussion.
Motion
For discussion.
Motion for discussion. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, who wants to get into it? Mr. Brown.
Last month, I talked about this right here being a forward Sumner project. And, on page 51, talks about where the money goes. And, working with a workforce intelligence template be developed by Forward Sumner. Then another $25,000 goes to schools for CTE. And then the other part on page 57 talks again more in detail about the work intelligence template. But here again, we've got a lot of other things that need to be done with this money rather than that. And I just honestly feel like this is a payout for Sumner.
Any other discussion? I'm gonna get in queue on this one, but. Okay, well, I'm gonna get in queue. I mean, I'm not necessarily, you can make an argument one way or the other about the funding. I just wanted to make a note here that there's huge stigma about Forward Sumner. And several of us participated in a Forward Sumner meeting not too long ago, and out of that Forward Sumner meeting came a unified request for both the county and all but I think one mayor to request impact fees Seriously, and just before this meeting, I was actually on the phone with, William Lambert, to press for impact fees. So I know that we all hate Ford Sumner, and there's some reasons for this. Like, there's some, Ford Sumner, in my view, has always been a double-edged sword. Because there's definitely a pay-to-play aspect to this that I don't like, where it comes to, Facebook, Meta, and other kind of actors that meddle in government affairs. But the flip side of that is, we're speaking in a unified voice to get impact fees pressed up through the state. Now, I know there had previously been some movement toward that, but it's nice to be able to have pretty much every actor except one on board with that. And I think there was some groundwork laid out by members of this committee ahead of time. I think some of it had to do with some hardball that we played over the water grant. But I also think that forum played a role, because we had that discussion there. Anyway, just want to make that note. Mr. Mansfield.
I just want to clarify, I don't know of any legislation that's moving forward in the General Assembly for impact fees for getting out of the 2006 County Power and Relief Act. We passed a resolution asking, but nobody's carrying it, nobody's doing it. The subcommittee that's killed it 2 years in a row, I think, we call it the Home Builders Association and the Realtors Association, are heavy campaign contributors to them. The chairman takes all the money back, not even citizens. They are killing that, so I don't know.
Well, I'll say this is brand new information as of today, because I just got off the phone with William Lambert, and I believe Mr. Spicky is going to be carrying this for us.
What is he carrying?
Well, there will be 2 bills that will be carried. I think he may be carrying both. Now, I didn't jot down the note. Mr. Jones, you were sitting there when we were talking to Mr. Lambert, but there are 2 bills that are being looked at. One is basically getting rid of the 2006 County Relief Act and allowing for counties to set impact fees. The other one is another one which we discussed, which was to add the county as a interested party in the annexation process, and those two kind of work in tandem.
Yeah, the HB 28 Lambert passed last year, but the Senate subcommittee said no, and they wanted to heavily amend it, and that's where it's left out. I've checked the Lambert on that, and he hadn't changed his tune on that one bit. So there's nothing guaranteed on annexation.
It's not guaranteed.
And the impact, it's ridiculous, such a crappy, it was just a bad bill, because it only included 2 counties. It wasn't even, it just wasn't a good bill that they put on last year. And so, I don't know, you can't say anything's really going to be happening, because that's not true, unless we see something, but I'm more skeptical of anything that they're saying as far as a bill, or if they're presenting something. I question what they're going to be bringing forward, because I know that I'm going to assume one of our major cities was heavily against the annexation bill and got killed in the subcommittee here from Sumner County. I'm not going to say it was one, because it's not accurate, but it was the one that probably was against the impact discussion. But I just want to clarify on the record, because that's new information, but I've not heard any of that yet, so I'm trying to clarify.
Well, and to be fair, none of this it's not out there yet, and it likely will, there's a lot that can go back and forth on it, but I just wanted to note that there is movement. There's considerably more movement than there has been in the past. So, anyway.
Not many more days for movement. Things are filling up.
Government is meant to move slow. All right. The motion here, what was your motion, Mr. Brown? Did you have a motion, or did you just have a comment?
No comment, but I will make a motion to allocate this money somewhere else that's needed in general fund.
Mr. Chairman, this money can't be allocated for anything else. It is earmarked for economic community development for this project.
And this,
Mr. Mayor, is there anything, you're saying that?
No matching funds, it's an economic community development grant.
But if we don't, are you saying if we don't allocate it to this effort, it goes away?
We just tell the state we don't do it.
Okay.
Isn't this going to help? Maybe you can read through the lines. It's going to help any high school kids.
Yeah, project that builds a dashboard environment for high school kids to be able to interact with the job market, learn what jobs they want, different things like that. It's a program that's collaboration with TCAT, with Ball State, with Sumner County Schools, and then, of course, Board Sumner is just kind of the umbrella that brought everybody into the same room.
So it's basically gonna, if a kid doesn't, correct me if I'm wrong, please, 'cause I'm just trying to make sure I understand this right. If a kid doesn't want to go to a 4-year university, but wants to go through, say, a trade like heating and air conditioning,
They can start
would something like this be beneficial?
This gives them the environment to learn about that, to where they would go for it, so.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, well, we have one of you, go ahead.
I have a son that's at TCAT right now, and it was 100% funded through the, I think it's Tennessee Promise. So if they want to go to trade school, it's already paid for.
Were you gonna make a motion?
I'm making a motion to approve. I mean, we can't do anything else with this money, so why don't we just see, it's a small, small price to pay.
I mean, I don't know.
We can't take it and use it anywhere else.
I don't know. I mean, we don't have anything else for it, I mean.
No.
That's what we're hearing.
This is a good use of the money. If it's
So we have a motion and a second, Ms. Boyd, and then
So-
Mr. Mansfield.
If we do not take this money, it goes back to the state and they reallocate it next year in grants. That's where the money goes. If we don't use this money for this project, and I've heard about this project, this is the third time they use graphic. If we don't use this project, it goes back to the state, they'll rewrap it next year and hand it back out for infrastructure again. And their competitive grant. I spoke to them.
I just see it's a small amount. Let's
Well,
see what they
let's
come up
stay,
with.
Mr. Mansfield.
So I was just reading this, it's talking about hiring an employee with one-time grant funds. So how is that employee gonna be paid, next year?
The position would die. Oh, okay, so there's no motion
To suspend.
Your motion, second, all in favor? Aye. Ms. Norfleet, does this hire a full-time employee?
No, it's not hiring a full-time employee, it'll hire a consultant that'll help us with the workforce intelligence template, build out the website upgrade. So it's going to take all the data from different data houses and it'll fine-tune that data for Sumner County in particular. The tools will be provided this consultant will work with the VP career coaches and all state and, the TCAT to build this template that will house all the data for the different career clusters that are necessary. They've looked at, a couple of them that they've looked at advanced manufacturing, healthcare, and then the education looked at CTE, career coaches, those specific career clusters that the career coaches are trying to place their students into. The website will house specific to Sumner County data on what jobs are available. So if a student wanted to go into welding, the website is going to pull all of the jobs that might have been available specific to Sumner County, so that student can go to this website and see what jobs are available. It's going to be specific, hopefully, to people here in Sumner County. And it'll let them know what the potential salary range may be, what education is required to go into that career. And it'll be a website that the students can go to with assistance from their career and technical education and career coach to pull this information if they're interested in that specific career.
Mr. Brown and then Mr. Mansfield. Do you have a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, when we walked in, to the building, we walked through the unemployment office. So what is this gonna do that the unemployment office should be doing?
This is going to connect our students here in Sumner County with,
Well, I mean, can't they go into the unemployment office and do the same thing?
no, it's to help guide your students to find what career they're interested in. It's just pulling off of, like, right now they do, different, I don't know if you remember the name of the program, Sean, that they do that kind of dictates what
they're gonna be tested? Is that what this is?
No.
'Cause that's what the ASVAB does.
This is a website that will take the data and will use specific for, like I mentioned in my summary, like, it's gonna show the job openings, the wage trends, the job growth by industry, occupations available, so they'll how it's through this website, so those students can pull up, like I mentioned, if they wanted to be interested in welding, it would help them show what jobs are available. It'll also do job placement. We're gonna work through all state and the, PCAT with the chambers, and we're gonna do apprenticeships. So work with the different, companies within Sumner County, if they're willing to take on a 16, 17, 18-year-old and do a summer job placement. This will be part of that, pulling all that data together.
Well, I know through the CTE program, that's what they're supposed to be doing.
What is already doing?
This is going to complement what they're doing. This is going to be tailored
Because,
specific.
I mean, my wife was a CTE teacher, and I know, and I was a teacher too. And I know how all of those schools, especially in Metro, they were combined with the particular, industries that they were an academy to. And, I don't understand why.
It's going to be $50,000 that goes towards those website upgrades. So
They should already be doing that.
and that's part of, I mean, we worked with the state. What's the workforce cabinet here in Sumner County is going to be being looked at as we are doing what we should. And they said that what we are doing is a good job, and they wanted to use this as a model all across the state of Tennessee. They, as part of our grant application, they asked us what we've been doing the last.
I'm gonna maybe echo our chairman and say that on this one, likely people's minds are made up one direction or the other, but I won't cut off, conversation here, so, Mr. Mansfield.
I'm confused on page 44, it says goal 3. It's develop Sumner County regional organization funding for water infrastructure. Why is that included in this, dashboard, pathway dashboard?
We had, as part of the 3-star, we had to have 3 goals. So 2 of them are centered around workforce development, and there's 1 is for, recreational water. So back in April, we met with the stakeholder groups from entities all across Sumner County, with city, county, chambers, healthcare, education, and 3 goals were formalized. And ours.
So this is just a general 30,000 foot.
Yeah, we had to show those as part of our 3-star application. So of the 50,000, you had to spend it on over the next 12 to 18 months back then. We're now in about 12 months, but on the you had to come up with a project based off of your 2-year period towards one of these 3 goals. And what we had chosen was 2 of the workforce goals for the workforce intelligence template and something with superior technical education.
So this $50,000 is going for goal 1 and 2.
Yes, correct.
Goal 3 is just because you have that result.
Correct.
Well, you just throw it in there.
And we've been working through other avenues, like water grants to apply for goal 3.
Any other questions? Okay. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
No.
Okay.
I'm abstaining, because I'm abstaining on this.
Okay, we have 1 abstention, 4 noes, I think, 2 yeas, motion fails. Okay, we'll move back into our standing rules here. All right, so 3-star grant fails. So second reading for Finance Department, this is for a new payroll position. Just came out of the Financial Management Committee. Any further comments on this, Mr. Long? Any discussion on this one? Not entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All righty. Okay, so Highway Department, this, as amended, is $225,000 appropriation from the fund balance for salary increase and, related benefits. I entertain a motion for discussion or
Deferred.
well, it's not deferred, we were waiting, so I
I'll motion to defer.
we have a motion for discussion, second, all in favor?
You just said a motion to refer.
Who got?
I motion for discussion,
I
I motion for,
Who went first?
oh, I'm sorry.
Did you go motion to
I
defer?
was, that's what I
All right, motion to defer,
It's refer.
refer back to committee.
So whichever way it's gonna go, I would say.
Okay, motion and a second, okay, go ahead.
I'm not sure, this has been in highway twice, and I'm not sure, other than tonight, what happened to it the last time, so you might want some clarification on that before you.
That's why I motion for discussion.
We can still discuss that, so it's been to highway.
The deferment was because it didn't hit the right committee, and I'm not sure which direction highway stuff needs to come, but it had been on highway's agenda the last time it met, about 2 months ago. And, I just wanted y'all to be aware of that.
They did not vote on it.
I don't, that I
It's
do
been
not
there, but
know.
it hasn't been voted. So has there been a vote on it? No. Okay. Ms. Boyd? I'll suspend the rules in a minute.
To clarify, I will say it has to come to us with a positive approval recommendation from the committee. That's what our rule says. And we don't have that.
Any other discussion on this one? I'll motion to suspend the rules,
Second.
All right, motion is second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, Mr. Ellis?
Yes, I brought it to, the highway committee on November 13th, for full transparency, to make sure that everybody knew and understood. Of course, when we talked about this at length, we talked about it for several, probably half the meeting. And my whole goal was bringing it to November 13th to that meeting, was to talk about what I'm trying to do, try to understand the effects, because, man, how many times have we talked about it? The thing is that I'm definitely in pain here, and the department is too, and I'm losing people because of the pay. And, I asked for more money, it was brought up tonight. What's what, I asked for more money going into the budget. I'm not coming in here to cause trouble. I feel like there's been times in the past, y'all really helped me. But the thing of it is, since July 1st, going with today, it happened again. I'm up to 9 people that's leaving because of pay. And what I'm trying to do, no way we can do it all at once. One of the things that I've been told by commissioners is, let's get to the next budget, we'll try to do the best we can. I'm just asking for a small, just a step in the right direction, because what I've got, and what I need y'all to understand, is the state is giving us extra money that we can really help our infrastructure and paving. We've got $300 million that comes to the county across the state. Sumner County is getting 5.1 of that. And it's going to take me 3.5 years to do the state aid projects along with the other projects we've got. But it's going to be a real injection into the system. It's going to help us get our road rate up from the level of we're so far behind. And what I want to do is, I've talked to several of you, the thing that I've got with the crews that I've got right now, I'm comparing to anybody I've ever had in highway paving. They're great, they're tremendous. Since I've been in office, I'm pretty proud of the fact, I went back and looked at it today, and I got the paperwork, I can give you the roads, not this. We paved almost 75 roads since I've been in office. It's amazing. They've done a good job, and I know they've done a good job, because many of y'all sitting here have complimented their work. They've done a great job. But retention is the cheapest factor that we can do with these people that we have. They're awesome. There's a reason the private sector is wearing me out, because they can. And these people are highly experienced. These aren't people that have no experience, have just been with me for a while. They're important. And while the state is looking at us and going, hey, we're giving you this extra money, y'all can go pave out all these roads. If I don't have this crew, I can't get it. What would really be sad is if I lose 3 or 4 more guys off my paving crew, and then I'm taking this extra money the state, God bless them, have given us to go and inject these extra roads and to do some good with our infrastructure and play some catch up, and then turn around and have to give it to a paving contractor who trying to make this work, and I'm just asking for help.
Thank you, Mr. Ellis. Mr. Jones?
So just a clarification, this did come before Highway 2 months ago. It was brought to us as Mr. Ellis said, a point of transparency, because he was just asking for a transfer from one section of his department to another section, and it was I'm letting you know what I'm asking you to do for us. It was a non-voting item at that time when he put it on the agenda then. When I saw it on budget this time, 2 months later, I asked for it to come back because to refresh our memories, and it was put back on there as a discussion item only, not a voting item. So I do believe this is going to end up right back here in the budget because it's just a funds transfer. It's nothing that we have to approve a extra funds. You're taking from, you're either going to have a bunch of supplies over here and not nobody to use it because the people are gone, or you have, 6 of one, half dozen the other. You're going to be able to not have the supplies and have people. So we did both.
It's a new appropriation. It's a new appropriation. But the rest of your point, it's a new appropriation, but the rest of your point is taken. Ms. Miller?
I have a question. Can I say?
Yeah, we're out of our.
So this 250,000, wherever you're taking it from, you're not going to end up with a shortage there and come back and ask us.
It's a new appropriation.
It's a budgeted from fund balance, it's a new appropriation.
Oh, it's not a transfer?
No,
The transfer has to be between line items.
That's a new appropriation.
To be a transfer, it would have to be, for instance, from a supply item to a supply item for asphalt to asphalt. This one's actually from fund balance, so it is a new appropriation, we'll have to go for completion. As Toby's pointed out, it says it's from fund balance, but we may want to go back and look at gas tax and see if it's going to bring extra that you could keep gas tax up. I have not looked at that yet. That possibility, because.
Well, I guess I looked at it as a transfer because we looked at the dollar amount in the fund balance, and this was less than what we feel like where we would be at. And that's the way I was looking at it.
Toby, this is $225,000 to get you to June 30th, spread over your entire workforce, which is how many people right now?
Probably, I have to look at 58.
Okay, so what are we talking about?
We probably got 45 people.
So this is a bump of how much per hour per worker?
It's in that $2 to $3 range.
$2 to $3, okay.
Mr. Mansfield?
Well, what's two things? This is an appropriation between now and June 30th. What happens on July 1st? What are we taking from and to replace it, or we're going to have to appropriate new money?
This would change the maintenance of everything.
This would change the maintenance.
You have, on the highway department, as one maintenance vehicle, you have to meet a 5-year average on his budget. That's all you got to do is meet a 5-year average. So your local revenue, so basically, what you budget for is property tax, wheel tax, has to meet a 5-year average. So what this will do is it could potentially decrease its fund balance, but it would not affect the maintenance level.
Okay. Well, it may.
You may, if you could balance his budget, you'd have an issue, but it wouldn't affect your maintenance vehicle because it doesn't affect our local revenue.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, I come in the office with zero extra money in the fund balance.
Go ahead, Mr. Mansfield. Mr. Mansfield.
So, okay, so that, this is new money that when we use our budget cycle, I guess it's going to be a $450,000 request come June.
Yes.
For next year, that's, almost $500,000 more in recurring funding every year. And, okay, that's just trying to.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean,
That's the implication.
and, I mean, when we talked about not doing this in another budget cycle.
Yep. Well, Mr. Brown and Ms. Boyd.
My issue with this is you have a subject-specific committee that's supposed to be looking at this, and they're supposed to be the subject matter experts, but it got put off 2 months, and it was just discussed. It was never passed or anything else like that, and now we're asked to make this decision, And that's why, you know, we have these committees, is to get some kind of, speculation or recommendation or something like that from that committee.
To be fair, Mr. Brown, I mean, Mr. Ellis has had this, and you could, not trying to place blame, the committee chose not to do anything with it. So,
That's what I mean, you know.
So,
Your rules say that you have to have approval for something.
yeah, I know. Mr. Boyd
told that they had to vote on it and discuss
It was a
it.
choice vote. They were told it was a choice vote.
So there wasn't a votable item, that's what they just said to me earlier, so that's, I mean.
So earlier, the committee misunderstood.
Everybody
thought it was a transfer.
I understood it to be a transfer.
That's, I mean, it's bad information.
Yeah, no.
I'm just, because it was going from the fund balance to.
Ms. Boyd. Just one second, Mr. Wells, Ms. Boyd.
So one of the reasons that I asked to defer these items specifically, this one is Highway Committee was concluding, they were still asking for more information. They wanted to know how much the state highways were paying. But I would also have a question regarding the 15 employees that have quit. Have any of them come back?
No.
Will they come back after this? 9 months?
What I've got right now, I've had 9 residents up in July, and I've got other people that have offers that are waiting to see what I can do. And then I've hired people going, well, are you gonna get the pay up? I'm gonna do my best. Just work with me, and I'm not promising.
I'm gonna get my own cue here. Well, go ahead, Ms. Boyd.
I would hope that, I would ask that the Highway Committee would be able to tell budget how many employees we routinely run at highways, because I have no idea in this whole discussion. I think I've listened to all the highway discussions for the last several months. I've never heard what their typical employment is, how much their employment goes down and up with when how much, because construction up and down. Any data other than money. Throw at it. So I'd like just more thoughts from you.
Ms. Miller.
On here it says, Toby, he put this in his, I guess, or whatever, his request, whatever. It says, the people that I've hired have come to work here with the contingency of raising the pay scale. How many people did you hire saying, I'm gonna get you paid? I mean, is that what you did? Is it in their contract?
No, I sit there, you know, when you sit down and do an interview, and I've had some people that have worked with me before that come to work there, and I don't know what you do for them. I said, well, we're in a situation here that I'm gonna work toward getting the pay scale up, and that's what we're working on. And I just promise to that, but the bottom line is, I can't tell anybody that anything that I'm gonna do because it's not in my voice.
So you didn't, just to be clear here, you didn't make a hire with a contingency or promise or something?
That's what that sounded like.
I got hired with, I'm very hopeful that over the next few years we get the pay scale.
So I just want to get my own cue here, because you and I have talked about this, and I told you that this conversation was going to happen here. Just a second. This one vexes me, because and you know what? I knew this was going to happen after we did this for the sheriff's pay. I knew this was going to happen. Because it sets bad precedent. It sets very, very, very bad precedent. On the flip side of that, and this was why, you know, I was a lone no vote on the other one, sometimes the practicality of a thing, laying overly hard and fast to rules can cost you more in the long run than looking at a practical problem in the face. And I believe you when you say, and I know what the numbers look like for the state funding, and I know what you're saying there. What you're basically saying is, hey, I've got X amount of funding, the vast majority of this is going to go toward material. And I can use my own personnel that are paid for, that have my own, where I know my margins, and I know my people are going to do it, and I can track every penny. or I can pay a contractor, and I can pay for their overhead and their profit. Which one do you want? And so, like, that's why this really, really, really bothers me, because I really want, and you're not talking about this, I really want to just say no to it, because it didn't get passed through another budget, or excuse me, it didn't get passed through another committee, and it's outside of a cycle. But the thought of having, I don't mean anything bad about a contractor, but the thought of wasting money on a contractor when we don't have to, and it'll only cost me $220,000, we'll waste more than that on a freaking contractor. We were likely to waste more money on a contractor than it would be to put our own, so it's really vexing to me. Anyway, that's my comment.
The thing of it is that the money that the deficiency of not paving 50+ miles a year creates a scenario as you go across year to year over several years. That money is just building up. And I've got paperwork showing over the last 6 years we got a cost of almost $10 million based on today's project.
I know, you've shown me the flow down.
And so that's just one other item. If this goes bad, and I hope it don't, you know, I want to do the work. I want to have the people. And I wholeheartedly thought, in my mind, simple mind, it was a transfer. And so I told everybody that, and I thought it was a situation where it was a discussion point. Anytime that we went through highways about something, I had to go back to highway and do a discussion to make sure that they understand what I'm coming to the budget committee about. And we've had discussions about it, and I did not think it was a vocal. It was something that it was to make get everybody on the same page that what I was bringing to the budget and being totally transparent. And I know they understood, because there was calls the next day going, I really appreciate them being transparent about it.
Mr. Klein, and then Ms. Lloyd.
Toby, I'm a numbers guy, like you're a numbers guy. And I agree that the quality I'm seeing on you guys is second to none. I mean, all you gotta do is look at Broadway with the state business, a pathetic example of paving. But have you calculated now in your tenure as the head of the road department, what your cost, your average cost per square foot of replacement is? Do you have any idea?
I think you did do a cost per mile. We did that during last budget.
We're around 120,000 miles right now.
125,000.
That won't happen. That's one line, not both lines.
Oh, and that's 112-foot line. Or is it 10 foot line? Okay. 125,000 per mile.
Yeah. I remember this discussion during last.
So, just as a point of we want more highway, I want to remind y'all, I was the only one in the commission that voted against giving highway employees another 2 hours per holiday. That's 30 hours more a year of holidays per employee that the commission approved. And that was highway we didn't lay down, but we said wouldn't cost us anything and would make it more convenient for highway to take a holiday. So I have a little bit of trouble going back now and saying I don't have enough employees to get the job done when I increased 30 hours per employee because it would be more convenient for them on the holiday accounting. So I'm just having trouble with that. You know, either we want more roads, it's more convenient not to have more roads. I just want to throw that out there.
So I'm just gonna counter that with the market. What's the average? What is somebody who one of your guys are? I mean, I'm not sure that I'm gonna vote for this, by the way. I tussled with it, but at the end of the day, we can say all day long that we're gonna have more. You know, we're gonna take people's holiday, but like they'll just leave because the market is what the market is. What are you paying your paver right now? What is the positions that you've lost? Yeah, I just want apples to apples.
I've lost truck drivers.
So what are you paying truck drivers?
I'm starting truck drivers out at $18.50.
And what is their competition giving them when they leave?
They're in the mid-20s.
Mid-20s. So if I'm going to leave, I mean, I'll take away my benefits. I mean, I'm going to leave for that too. So I don't know. I don't buy that argument.
Example of what Terry's talking about.
well, the holiday.
We
It's a benefit.
we work 10-hour days, 4 days a week. And so you take people that were coming in that were new, that's got, or let's say they've worked there for a few years and they've got, a week's vacation. And so on election year, you got either 16 or, I think it's 18 paid holidays on election year. So 36 hours of their vacation time would have to come out to give them a full check, because we were only paying them 8 hours on a paid holiday.
All right, any other?
I don't know anybody that 18 paid holidays except for government employees. I mean, I'm just sorry. I mean, that's like.
Well, I think we've got 15 this year.
I don't know anybody that 15 paid holidays except for government employees. So, I mean, that's a pretty good benefit. But I mean, we're talking about salary, we're talking about benefits.
Excellent.
It is, I mean.
It is, but if the pay's not what it should be, it doesn't really matter.
Well, I mean, are we talking pay, or are we talking about?
But it's what I point. Yeah, go ahead.
I can't support this outside the budget cycle. I don't have our finance director up here to tell me what the total cost is of the employee, of the benefits, salary, retirement, TCRA, you know, all those things that we put into it that the public sector doesn't put into, that the private sector might not put into things. So I don't know what the total compensation is versus an hourly. We've gotten the same deal with the sheriff's department, the same arguments when you look at total salary. And so and then you're looking at $500,000 of expected. That's just money we got to start spending July 1st. You know, it's automatic. But not to say we can't do it. I just don't know, because I know we talk about debt rolling off and using debt services, and we all have acknowledged that we have county services that have been neglected because everybody's just focused on the schools, and that the sheriff's department, highway department, EMS, or whoever have been neglected in pay scales. So I think everybody is definitely moving towards that. The SRO thing was a totally different beast because the money came in from the state then, and so it's like it was money available. So I don't know if are we getting cash from the state right now for this? Do we have money put in the bank account for this?
Well, actually, we were just, sorry, because you grabbed on this actually addresses this potentially.
Something that happened, and you guys recall back in the budget cycle, me and Toby had an amount for the current year and the next year budgeted for gas tax. The state association came back and said they were highly concerned about the gas tax, so I cut it last year, which was wrong, because what I originally had was correct, and we cut the coming year. One thing that may help, we couldn't do it tonight, but I could go back and look and see if his gas tax is going to bring in regular reoccurring funds that may do part of that issue. That may offset part of this issue.
So about for the 225.
Instead of well,
going to be obligated in July.
Well, we can see how much extra you think you've got in your gas tax versus what we budgeted. But I've got to go back and look at it really close and conservative, because we're still fairly early in the year. Because there's a lag. But I can look at that for next month.
Go ahead. Now I'm going to make a motion. Go ahead.
Well, you got a motion.
Well, I amended it. Well,
I want you to say something. Well, like I say, that would give us enough time, if it's referred back to committee, and then bring it forward. That way we have all the information. Well, he never asked me for that. He just. Well, I know. Like I say,
go ahead.
Well, because I listened to them, so if I get what you said wrong, please correct me. But with the sheriff's stuff, we all know that was from the state.
Correct. And we got the money in it.
And I'm glad you brought that up, though, because I'm so glad you brought that up, because I had verified that they wanted, the proposal was, correct me if I'm wrong, 12 new SROs, but we agreed to 5 with the sheriff's department. So I'm just mentioning that because, this is how it all played out. They felt it was safe enough with the 5 that they didn't need the 12. So at that point, we created a subcommittee to look at step increases, because personally, I have a problem with a 20 or a 10, 20-year veteran of any department getting paid similar to a guy that's been here a year or two. Long story short, Commissioner Boyd, David Lowing, they got together with Chief Deputy Craddock. They worked out through a lot of work a plan that's it's a long-term solution. There was talk at the time they wanted us just to dump the money. Some employees wanted us just to give them a lump sum and just worry about it another time. Y'all did a great job with a long-term solution. I would like to see a long-term solution, not just employee pulls out a help wanted ad and says, well, this company's paying $2 more. Where's the value in a step increase when you come to work for a company? If you say to the employee, if you're dedicated and committed to Sumner County. When you get to this year, here's what's gonna happen for you. Instead of playing this game of every time, you know, some companies out there offering more money, having to do this.
So I'm good with referring this back, but what I'm gonna do here is I think I'm gonna make an amendment, and it'll probably fail, but, and I'm okay with referring it, but, I think what Mr. Ellis is basically asking for here is he is concerned that we will end up losing more efficiency in terms of roads paved, costing more long-term dollars if we have to give those to a contractor in order to not waste state funds that have a time ticking on them. And I don't like that. I also, for all other reasons that were stated here, have several concerns about it, but I'm gonna make an amendment, and I think it'll fail, but I'm gonna make an amendment to appropriate $100,000 from a fund balance for salary increases and related benefits. So the total would be $100,000. So it would have to be spread out over. It's not $100,000 for just the salary. It has to be spread out to account for all of it. $100,000 for those for this. That's my motion, or that's my amendment.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, go ahead.
I think this is going to come up in the next vote after this. Keep in mind, everybody, that the highway committee only meets every other month. This referral would push it back 2 more months.
Do a special call.
Do a special call.
And also, there was nobody there that didn't see the need. It was about whether or not.
Well, then y'all should have voted on it.
It was about whether or not there was no vote available, but it was whether or not there was enough funds for it. So the questions are going to come back to the budget for us to be able to make our decision on it. There's going to be questions asked about whether we can afford to do this or approve it.
The way that I understand it, I'm just going to note this, and I'm going to take this back and restate, but the way this is supposed to work is that the highway or emergency services or what have you assesses a need and makes a recommendation, do we need this or not? Like whether or not we can afford it, or how much we can afford does not have to be, all that we need to budget is yes, we agree that this is a need that needs to be done. But we don't have that for our rules. Nevertheless, I'm going to make an amendment, it may not even get a second, for $100,000 for highway toward this end, not the $225 that was asked.
And I know you to be very straightforward, you ain't gonna sugarcoat nothing. You can kick my butt after this if I put you on the spot, but you and I've had conversations, no secret about the sheriff's department, what's come up tonight.
Yep.
And I asked you point blank, I'm not holding you to it, but do you think that this would trigger a taxing, this $100,000 amendment that you're proposing tonight? Do you, in your mind, and again, I'm on the spot, I'm sorry.
I highly doubt that.
Point of order, how can we both defer and grant half of it? I don't see that.
Because it's basically changing your motion. It would be.
So he's going to defer half
He gets $100,000, but then it would still go back to ask for the rest.
But we need a second.
Yeah, we do need a second. It may not get a second. So let's get a second or not a
You could
second.
answer my question if you will allow him to.
You technically, if he comes in, he's spent this, and he doesn't have the money next year, you technically don't have to raise his budget. All you've got to do from the highway department is meet a 5-year average on the revenue.
5-year run.
So it's really up to the road superintendent to figure out how to balance the budget. So if Toby wants to use the money, and you don't have the wrong fund, then that's him to come back and convince you guys for extra money. So we're not, of course, a tax raise unless you're willing to do it. Does that answer the question?
That answers my question.
You have to be willing to do it.
So I have an amendment. Is it gonna get a second?
I'll say real quick before
Well, you gotta make,
I'm gonna make an amendment to second it, but I just wanted to be clear that when we come back to budget, if you ask for extra money,
I get it.
I'm gonna be a hard no.
I get it.
I'm willing to, go out and support you on your amendment to give these guys some more
I don't think
money.
it's gonna pass anyway.
But I don't think it's gonna,
So is that a second?
That's a second.
All right, Mr. Mansfield.
So I need clarification because I'm not understanding the conversation when you're talking about the state aid. And and the money going to contractors, but I mean, I don't know,
So
I don't know why you keep saying that.
So the state has said, you have $5 million, we're gonna give you $5 million toward paving the road.
Have they given us money yet, is my
Yes.
question.
Do the reimbursement.
Yes. Yeah, I can answer this one, actually, we'll suspend the rules here in a second, but yes, they've said, here's basically a fund you can draw down on.
So they,
But we don't have human beings to like execute it.
okay.
You got one, two.
It's like saying, I'll give you money for a building, but you don't have anybody to build it.
Asphalt only or laid down asphalt, that's the difference. Notice, he can hire people to lay down asphalt, or he can just buy the asphalt and his people
Right.
lay it down. If you don't have enough people, he can't lay it down.
Right, so if every dollar he's buying, he's taking toward a contractor, is money he can't take toward asphalt.
So they charge you. My question is, when did we get this money?
This was last year.
So the state aid's been coming in for a year, like in 12 months?
You guys budgeted it last year.
We've already.
Remember, there was an asphalt line in the second line called state aid.
And we were burning some of that off with the ARPA, we took some of the ARPA.
Okay, yeah, I remember that now. So we've had the state aid money, and correct me if I'm wrong, so we're not able to use it on anything except for hard cost of asphalt?
No, it's toward, if you have.
So asphalt or pay contractors?
You can do, because for every dollar, so if I have a
state aid road,
it has to pay for a road, so if I've got $1,000, and I've got a human being who can pave it, I can spend all $1,000 of that toward the asphalt. If I don't have a human being, I have to go pay a contractor, and then they will pave it, and I'll get probably $400 worth of asphalt, because I'm also paying for their contractor, their profit, and their overhead. And that's why it's not efficient. So I'll get more miles.
We're getting 15 times what the normal capacity for each year we would normally get as part of the $300 million that the governor appreciated.
But coming back to, I want to, again, I'm not seeing our finance director show me the charts and the list and during the budget process of $500,000 that starts on July 1st by moving towards that, to make sure that, we can do that. That's not going to be a problem to do that. It's not going to break anything to do that. And that we're planning to do that as part of increasing salaries for the highway department come June.
What Mr. Long just said was,
I think with the gas tax.
that's part of it, but we're allowing this, but that does not necessarily encumber us next year for an additional, let's say, where it's $100,000.
So then he loses his employees in June instead of now?
Well, if he loses, yes, if we say no, then.
Your MOE is all revenue-based with Toby's department. If you don't maintain the 5-year average, he loses part of the gas tax. There's no other requirement, so for instance, if Toby comes in next year and he's gonna have a $500,000 deficit, and you say balance the budget, he's gonna have to cut line items, whether that's asphalt or employees.
And in fact, that's what we did last year, but we plussed it up with the state aid.
The only way you're gonna raise taxes is if you're willing to come over here and vote to raise taxes.
Correct.
Well, I knew that.
His isn't like the sheriff, his does have an MOE on the expense side, so his is totally different. That's why it gets confusing, there's different MOEs, his is not expense-based.
Ms. Boyd.
So my question doesn't address what Jeremy's saying. I think he's saying wait till budget so we can see it. I think Bob's saying highway should know some stuff. My question's a little bit different. I'm asking an accounting question. We're burning the state aid first, correct?
We're burning it piece by piece, so
But we'll burn
It
it
has to
first.
be used on a state aid road. That's,
Yeah.
The state aid
a
road.
state aid road has to connect state roads. So
and
you
not
can't
all of our
consider
roads,
I
not all of our roads
It makes
have it.
up about 15% of our.
Like, so your railroad's
How far through it have we burned?
Center Point.
Center Point's a state aid
I'm
road.
sorry.
I can't recall, I think we got,
Toby, how much have you been,
I think we got reimbursed for about 6.
how much have you burned?
We're around 600, we've done 2 state aid projects at this point, and I'm planning on coming in the spring and probably doing 2 more.
So what's your dollar amount that you burned?
By the end of this year, I'm gonna try to do, 1.9 million.
Of the state. That's about what we
It's
estimated.
gonna take a little over
It's gonna
3
take a
years
while.
to do it with our normal pace.
So you can't grab the rural roads and bridges or.
Right,
railways,
yeah, I
any of
understood that.
It's only
I
your
just
state aid
don't have
road.
to do that. So there's, the houses are gonna burn down, we got 3 years, we're gonna burn through that April.
Right, but I think he'd be concerned he's gonna have
Already.
people turn over and then he's gonna hire people. It's gonna cost him productivity, and he won't be able to get the road.
I've heard that, I was in the county building today, I heard that from the trustee's office, and I think I heard something about paying for those payroll adjustments too. Lots of people want them. All right, thank you.
Well, I would tell y'all this, I don't know that y'all believe this, but this department and what y'all did with the sheriff's department has nothing to do with my situation. I mean, my guys do not watch this meeting, they don't know, they don't even know that the sheriff's department's getting a pay raise. And what we're dealing with is the private sector, what is impacting it is that people are willing to pay more.
It's just the market.
It's the market.
So, any other discussion on this? Okay, so we're on the amendment, and the amendment is for 100,000. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
No.
Motion fails. Okay, so motion to defer or refer back to, committee. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Oh, go ahead.
So, think about deferring this until, back to budget from next month. Are we able to look at, I don't know, it's just,
We have a special call.
Should we look at the state gas tax? There's two things about state gas tax. If you amend up the state gas tax, it will not affect MOE because it's not a local revenue. It can also potentially be enough to offset this, but I need to look at it conservatively with Toby.
Would that make it a transfer at that point?
No, it'd still be an appropriation. The only thing that transfers if you're transferring between two expense line items or two revenue. It's automatically an appropriation if it's new money. So Toby just mislabeled it because he doesn't deal with this every day. I don't think there was any intent, but this is actually gonna have to go to the full commission, no matter what you do, it will be an appropriation.
So,
Revenue or expense.
can we defer this to next month and come back with that information, look at it, and then we can make more informed decisions since the highway committee never went through, for our rules, never went through the highway committee to get this information.
We already voted
We voted to do that.
take it back to the highway. We just.
No, I just stopped it.
We stopped it.
We stopped it. Yeah.
You just want me to look at his gas tax with Toby's.
Yeah, what's the amendment?
To defer till February, possibly.
Okay.
In order for David to come back with these numbers to us, so that we.
So defer it 1 month instead of 2 to get out of that.
Correct.
I'll just second it.
And then we can look at the numbers.
I just want to know
kick it
what,
back to.
I want to be able to see and make an intelligent decision, and right now I can't do that.
We can just eyeball gas tax, because that's I don't think you want to adjust your local revenues, because if you do, it does affect your 5-year average. I think you want to look at gas tax as well.
Well, I want to know what the options are, what the implications are. We're not fully thinking that through, in my opinion, so that's my vote.
I'll second the motion.
So defer till February and come back with that understanding of that data and information for us to look at.
All right, we have a motion and a second, Ms. Boyd.
And just as a matter of discussion, I'd like to see that also, but I'd like the highway to have an opportunity to look at it also. They still had questions that they left the table tonight.
If I may, if it does turn out that way, that would be my recommendation, so that you check every box before February, is that a special call be done. Highway gives their thumbs up, it's up here waiting on whatever it is you all want, and they can move from there, versus you all getting your answers and then figuring out whether it needs to be pulled through them or not.
We can't make highway meet next month.
I understand that, I'm saying that for the benefit of the audience.
Sure, but I mean, so.
I got your motion, and I seconded it, but, and I highly, certainly hope that the highway.
Well, how about I amend my motion?
Okay.
Well, I'll change it if you're.
All right, yeah, well,
To defer this discussion till February, and also ask that the highway committee convene 4:30, third Monday, right before this meeting, to go through that process.
all right. Second Monday. But I second your motion. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Got that one. Now we're on to the sheriff's office.
Make a comment about these, none of these are being reversed.
Yeah, no, we know that.
Can we have 5 minutes?
Yes, 5 minutes. We can do a 5-minute break.